The quiet trap isn't loud. It doesn't look reckless or irresponsible. It doesn't feel like a mistake in the moment. Most of the time it feels like you're doing what you're supposed to do. You're paying something every month. You're not ignoring the bill. You're not dodging calls. You're being an adult about it. And yet year after year, the balance barely moves. Sometimes it even goes up. And that's the part that messes with people's heads, because it creates this feeling of, what am I doing wrong if I'm paying every month and still not getting ahead? In a moment, I'll explain why that feeling is not only common, but almost designed into the system. For a lot of Americans, credit card debt doesn't start with a shopping spree. It starts with normal life. Groceries when prices jump. A car repair you didn't plan for. A medical bill that hits between paychecks. Maybe rent went up and the math stopped working. The credit card becomes a bridge, just for now. It's just until things calm down. And that part makes sense. The problem isn't using the card. The problem is what quietly happens after when the balance sticks around longer than expected. Here's where the trap really starts to close. Credit cards are built around minimum payments that sound reasonable, but are mathematically brutal. Imagine a card with a $5,000 balance at a 24% interest rate, which is very normal right now. The minimum payment might be around $150. You make that payment every month. You don't miss. You're consistent. It feels responsible. But here's the quiet part most people never see. In the first month, roughly $100 of that payment goes to interest. Only about $50 actually reduces the balance. Next month, the math barely changes. You're working, but the progress is almost invisible. Later, I'll explain why this setup keeps people emotionally stuck, not just financially stuck. This is where a lot of shame creeps in. People think if I were better with money, this wouldn't be happening. If I just had more discipline, I'd be out of debt already. But discipline isn't the core issue here. The structure is, minimum payments are designed to keep accounts open for as long as possible. Not because lenders are evil villains, but because that's how the product works. Interest is the engine. Time is the fuel. And the longer the balance stays, the more expensive it becomes.
Later credit scores.
On top of that, and things get even more confusing. Most people know their credit score matters, but they don't really know how it's calculated. The biggest piece, about a third of your score, is payment history. This is why one late payment hurts more than people expect. Miss a payment by 30 days, and it's not just a fee. It's a negative mark that can sit on your report for years. Even if everything else is perfect, that one slip carries weight. And the system doesn't care if you were sick, laid off, or dealing with a family emergency. It's binary, paid on time or not. The second piece that trips people up is credit utilization. This is how much of your available credit you're using. And this part feels unfair because it has nothing to do with effort. You can be paying on time every single month and still watch your score stagnate or drop if your balances stay high. For example, if you have a card with a $10,000 limit and you're recarrying a $7,000 balance, you're using 70% of that limit. That's considered high risk by the scoring models. Even if you've never missed a payment, that utilization alone can drag your score down. In a moment, I'll explain why this is why so many people feel like they are redoing everything right and still going nowhere. This is where the emotional trap tightens. You pay on time, which helps payment history, but the balance stays high, which hurts utilization. You try to pay more, but life keeps interrupting. An unexpected expense pops up, and the card gets used again. The balance goes back up. The score doesn't improve. And slowly, without anyone explaining it clearly, people start to believe that credit improvement is only for people who already have money. That belief is powerful, and it keeps people frozen. Another mistake that happens here is focusing on the interest rate as the enemy instead of the balance itself. People chase balance transfers, teaser rates, or consolidation offers, hoping for relief. Sometimes those tools help, but often they just move the same problem to a new place. If the balance doesn't come down, the pressure stays. And if income doesn't increase, willpower gets stretched thinner every month. Later, I'll show you why income matters more than motivation in this phase. There's also a timing issue most people never hear about. Credit scores don't respond instantly to good behavior. You can start doing better today and still feel punished for months. Utilization updates when statements close, not when you make payments. Payment history heals slowly. This delay makes people quit early because they assume nothing is working. In reality, the system just moves slower than human patience. Side hustles get talked about a lot at this point, and this is where things can go off the rails. When someone is stressed and tired, hype sounds tempting. Promises of fast cash, easy money, or secret methods show up everywhere. But fast money usually comes with high risk, burnout, or disappointment. What actually helps is boring income. It's predictable, legal, repeatable income that doesn't require you to reinvent yourself or gamble. Income matters more than willpower because no budgeting trick can outwork a math problem. If the gap between what you earn and what you owe is too tight, stress fills the space. A realistic side hustle doesn't have to be flashy. It can be extra hours, freelance work, reselling, tutoring, pet sitting, or any skill you already have that someone else needs. The key is not speed. The key is consistency. Even an extra $300 a month applied directly to a high-interest balance can change the timeline dramatically. That same $5,000 balance, with an extra $300 on top of the minimum, starts shrinking in a way you can actually feel. Progress becomes visible. When progress becomes visible, behavior gets easier to sustain. This is also where people accidentally make things worse by spreading money too thin. Paying a little extra on every card feels fair, but it often slows momentum. The brain needs feedback. When one balance moves meaningfully, motivation increases. When everything moves a tiny amount, it feels pointless. The system doesn't reward effort. It rewards outcomes. So what actually helps? Without overwhelm, without guilt, without pretending this is easy, today the most important thing is clarity, not perfection. Know your balances, interest rates, and minimums. Just seeing the numbers removes some of their power. This week, focus on one pressure point. One card, one bill. One small change that frees up cash flow, even if it feels modest. And this month, work on increasing income slightly. Not forever, just enough to create breathing room. Small steps are enough, because consistency beats intensity here. Financial repair is slow. That's the part no one likes to say out loud. But slow doesn't mean impossible. It means steady. It means boring. It means human. Credit cards are tools that got sharp edges over time. Learning how they work removes the shame and replaces it with strategy. You're not broken. You weren't irresponsible for needing help during expensive years. You're navigating a system that profits from confusion, and clarity is how you push back. If this helped things click, staying with this kind of calm, honest explanation can make the rest of the process feel less heavy. You don't need to rush, just need a direction that actually works.